Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Meeple has landed.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Trivia Meeples production of Blades in the Dark. That's right, we're doing something different. As you can see, we are missing Ray tonight. So we're going to leave Echoes of the Undying on the side for a moment. But as you can see, we also have someone new in the MC's chair. I cannot wait. That we have had so much fun the last few days putting these characters and this crew together. So I cannot wait to see what Matt's going to put us through. So without further ado, I will pass it off to our GM, Matt. Matt, please take us into Doskvol.
Okay. Scholars will tell you that the world ended nearly 900 years ago, that the gates of death were broken, and the stars fell from the night sky into the ink-dark seas. That there used to be a difference between day and night, and the sun wasn't just a guttering ember, only visible at dawn and dusk. That people didn't have to live in cities ringed with lightning barriers to keep the feral ghosts at bay. That was then. This is now. The world may have broken, but we're still here. We're still breathing. Welcome to the city of Doskvol, the city that sleep has forgotten, powered by the blood of the Leviathans, built and kept running on the backs of millions of desperate people. The world still moves, and so do you. Goodwill won't keep the wolves from your door or food in your belly. It's time to earn your coin at the edge of a blade or with a smile, or by any means you can. Welcome, scoundrels. Welcome to Doskvol. So, we'll imagine a overhead pan of this gas lamp fantasy, vaguely Victorian city, kind of an amalgam of Victorian London and Paris and Venice. Cramped streets, multi layers, even multi layers below the ground. An island like Manhattan, but more broken up. And as we pan over, always eternally shrouded in darkness, or at least night, nearly always raining, covered in soot and fog. Sometimes the cloud cover clears and you can see the moon, actually the moons. One one large silvery one that seems to be getting closer every year, and a small red moat. Um, we'll pan over the city down to the district of Night Market. Um, this is a place where you can get just about anything, any exotic, magical, esoteric thing, lots of illicit pleasures, and we'll focus in on ECAT. You find yourself a little low on a certain alchemical substance. That bandolier that you're carrying, that one vial, is getting a little light, if not almost gone. And you've gone to meet a contact to refill your supply. Do you want to introduce us to Louisa and describe a little bit of what the Vel looks like? Also, establish if anybody's with you, too, if you would,
Okay.
please.
First of all, I am alone. I've managed to sneak out, I think, away from my crew. Louisa is chronologically in her early to mid 20s. She looks a good 10 years older. She is tall, very gaunt and thin, dirty blonde hair that she basically just cuts herself. She just cuts it and it's all spiky and everything. She wears a long, full-length leather black duster. Across her chest is a bandolier, as you described, with several vials in it, one of which is mostly empty. She has pale, pale green eyes, almost washed out, borderline on gray. And she walks with an attitude of like everybody else is beneath her, which she fully believes. That is Louisa Sangrave, sometimes called Alchemy. And she's determinately making her way to her where she can meet her contact Roland.
Okay. So as you make your way, you see a very slim, somewhat small stature man with a fussy little mustache and beard, um, in a well-fitted coat with a very, very loud silk brocade waistcoat. And you catch his eye, and he's waves with his little finger, and it's like, "Oh, darling Louisa, so good to see you. I have that item you wanted."
Finger, good to see you too.
It's lovely. Mwah, mwah. Does the
Well,
cheek kisses. So, will you be needing a private room?
of course, darling.
Okay, excellent.
Have you known me to not take one?
Uh, I always ask. I don't want to assume. So,
And she starts her eyes just start trailing along the busy brocade of his jacket as if as if she thinks she sees it moving for just a moment. She just gets lost in the pattern.
now, I've put a little extra in with this batch, and let me know if you like it, and I'll leave you to it. If you need anything else, do just ring, and I'll put this on your tab.
Thank you, darling.
And what do you do next?
I take the vial, follow him to my private rooms, or area at least. I'm picturing it kind of like one of those opium den type of places where there's an alcove that's got a curtain
Yeah,
and she sinks into the musty, and there's some odd stains on the cushions, but she just settles in, takes off the cork, and just sniffs it for a moment, and just she's always moving, kind of like this ethereal, because the world does not stand still for her in her world. And then she sticks her pinky in and just
and it hits you almost like the first time. Like, this is good stuff. And as you relax into that warm embrace or the jittery high or whatever is your pleasure, it's normally not a hallucinogen that you take, but as you close your eyes, you get a flash of imagery. There's a silhouette of a woman, possibly a veil crowned in antlers. It flashes to an arcane looking circle, and she whispers, "Free me, break it." And then the vision jumps to an industrial building and a sign that says Pritchard and Company, number 8, procurement. or processing. Sorry. And you hear the voice say, "Remember," and then you're off to your normal high. What do you do now?
I just sink in. I start humming, enjoying it for all it's worth. The thought of even returning home at this point is long gone.
Okay.
She
So,
figures someone will come find her, or she will sober up enough eventually to make her way home.
okay. Um, Patrick, you've got a tailor in Night Market.
Yes.
You've noticed that Louisa snuck out. She's not as sneaky as she thinks she is. So, and she's gone to your usual haunt. So you've probably killed some time looking at fabrics, and you look at your watch, and it's getting on. Um, Not that day and night are too different. It's all dark, but it is the wee hours of the night cycle. So, do you collect your erstwhile
Yes,
charge?
I go over to Finger. I know where he is, and what he does for her and everything. So
Yeah, it's the
I drop
Vel
to take care of the kids.
is a is a social club, that you know. So think, the English gentleman's club crossed with an opium den crossed with a soothsayer's.
But I believe you repeat yourself 3 times.
So do the quick handshake at the door.
Yes,
It's like,
being eminently polite, like the gentleman I'm pretending to be.
yes, yes. Oh, Master Pot, is it? If you'll wait right in the servants section, we'll go get your mistress.
Thank you.
And
Tip the hat.
and cut back, and there's a knock at um, Louise's door. Oh, darling, I hate to interrupt,
Don't.
but
Go away.
your loyal hound is here.
Oh, I didn't order a puppy today.
Yes, well, he's cooling his heels with a pint in my foyer, and he's lowering the tone of the joint.
I'm so sorry, darling. You know how these servants are.
Oh yes, they're uppity and pushy. I get it. And so gauche.
I must tell you, darling, that whatever it is you did this time, keep it up.
Okay, we'll see if there's more where that came from. I know normally you just want reagents, but
Well, today I needed a little something more. Thank you. I
excellent.
get up and, okay, it takes a moment for her to do the whole, okay, hold on just a moment.
hmm
And
he's got his arm sort of cocked, like it's offered for you to take, but you know he's not intruding.
yeah, no, because at the same, while she pretends to treat him like more noble than he is still not noble.
Yes, Roland is a bit of a climber.
Yeah. And she recognizes that, and she just uses him for what her own needs. And so she just kind of wanders out, still very tall, regal, bit of a sneer on her face because, people, and just wanders off and goes and finds Lefty Oh, is it time already?
Unfortunately, my lady, it is.
Fine. And then I just go over and I just start tracing the lines of his lapel. And just, you can tell, like, her eyes are not looking at the same place. And you can tell that she got some good stuff this time.
Yep, and I'm not going to interfere with that, of course.
Okay. So unless you want to do a little more role playing in this scene, we're going to cut back at the Sandgrave Manor to the two of you coming home. And who's there to greet you?
I'm home.
So Lionel is not at the door. He is in he is in the sitting room, leaning back in his favorite cushioned armchair, and you see that his eyes, like, he has kind of that same dreamy lost expression that Alchemy had, uh, but his uh, irises and pupils are kind of clouded over.
Mhm.
And at first glance, one might think that he is blind, and that those are extreme cataracts, until the camera lingers on him a little bit and you can actually see it moving like clouds, uh, or like, suspended swirls in a solution.
Excellent. So you can hear the front gates open and close, and some murmured voices of Lefty and your sister and the butler, who we haven't named yet. Um, do you leave the sitting room, or do you have your man invite them in?
Nyrix, I think it's time I was getting back. I hope you enjoyed your time. Perhaps we'll do it again sometime.
Soon, my love.
Of course. And none of this is said out loud, uh, but then you can see his head kind of swaying, and then he closes his eyes for a second, opens them up, and you see the exact same greenish gray color eyes that you saw uh, in Alchemy. He stands up. He is still wearing his long coat, um, and he kind of straightens the lapels, and he always walks a little bit dreamily, um, almost looking like he's also a little bit high, or like they're a little bit high, um, but they make their way to the foyer. Sister, welcome home.
And as you say that, you see almost like a shadow over her face for a brief moment that is a familiar silhouette that you've seen before. A veil, crowned in antlers, and then it, like smoke, just drifts.
And I'm just slowly dancing in almost ballet style, but not. Just in the center of the foyer.
Okay. So I go and I actually match her swaying rhythm. Um, Almost looking like the two of us are about to start dancing, but we actually don't actually. I look over to Lefty. I take it her trip was eventful. What?
Successful, if nothing else, my lord.
Oh, I think there was much else. Perhaps when she has rejoined us a little more, she can regale us with the tale.
I reach out and not, I don't touch their cheek. Like there's just like enough of a hair's breadth, so no touch. And I just look at him and say, number 8 processing. Richard and Co. Creeper.
Really?
So I
I'll see.
finally make my way out from the basement where I've been inventorying the stock of food, alcohol, and anything else, that we might require. And
It's looking dire. You're you're down to the last dormouse, whatever fungus you've got growing, and there's maybe a quarter of a bottle of rum.
it is not. Oh, so I actually come back upstairs, muttering to himself, "Who drank all the rum?"
And you see this tableau. I believe Lionel was about to say something.
I'll speak to Nyrix, see what they can tell me. Number 8, you said?
Number 8 processing.
Processing.
Richard and Co. Richard and Co.
So,
Free her. Free her.
Matt, what do I know anything? Am I familiar with Pritchard and Company? Do I know what kind of business they are?
It's not off the top of your head, but it's something that should be public knowledge. And at this point, we can, because we're, I've maybe more subtly than normally put the job into your hands. So we can move on to legwork. We can cut the scene as it is, or let it roll for a little bit more if you guys want to role play. And then essentially, when you're doing information gathering, whoever wants to do that picks one of their actions, generally the best one you have, and you say, what you're digging up, what information you're looking for. Hunt means, you can like literally be tracking somebody, or, hunting for a certain shop, or, it's a very by design loose idea of what these actions are. And again, we can role play a little bit, and I can feed the information that way, or I can just summarize. It's up to what you guys want to do.
So,
Well, you definitely don't want to send me to go get information.
Well, I mean, this could even be like with an attune roll. That would be
Sorry.
would be Lionel
yep.
Yeah.
communing with Nyrix.
Yep.
So like you could potentially be, have another trip if you want. It's the sky's the limit here.
So, yes, once that scene has played out and we move on, Lionel will in fact attune to the ghost field and ask. They and Nyrix have a very symbiotic relationship. Nyrix very much enjoys being in a human body now and again, and in return, Lionel gets both, a reprieve from reality, which is always lovely, and in fact also sometimes can get some information from Nyrix or one of the other spirits that they know. And so he will commune with Nyrix and ask what what they and theirs know of Pritchard and Company, and specifically number 8 processing.
Okay, so do we want to cut to that now, or is there more that needs to be played out in this particular scene?
At some point, I will have just kind of drifted off somewhere, whether or not she actually makes it to her room to go unconscious or just finds a corner somewhere and curls up. It's anyone's guess.
I do. Calista does go over to Lofty and whispers in his ear, "The stocks are low. We should probably do something about that at some point when everybody is altogether present in this reality."
I'm kind of hoping that this place we'll be having to visit for their vision will maybe have a little money available to us.
That would be good. Because if we don't get more rum, somebody is going to die.
And I think that's a great place to cut the scene. All right. So Lionel wants to attune with his spirits. Does anybody else want to do a little research?
Oh, certainly. I'm going to go find out where that place is.
Okay.
I shall hunt down the building.
All right. We already asked what alchemy is doing. And how about Callista? You doing any legwork?
Yeah, I will help Lofty with finding information and seeing what we can.
Our target.
What was that?
Okay.
Appraising our target, because if we're going to have to
Yeah.
break in, there might be people there.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll if y'all are okay, we'll cut back to Lionel sometime later, sitting in his favorite chair, his eyes white again. So if you would please, if you are using a tune,
I am.
this is a straight fortune roll, so there's no consequence for. It's just the higher the roll, the more information you get.
Is this gather information?
This is gather information.
Okay. I would like to also then make use of my ghost mind. Take +1 die when you gather info about the supernatural.
Sounds brilliant.
Excellent.
Roll those beautiful beans.
Control, risky, or desperate?
It's always controlled. I mean, it's always, yeah, it's controlled. There that doesn't matter really for the fortune roll.
Sure.
The Foundry has it in there for reasons.
Matt, if we get a clear of the chat log just so we can start fresh.
Oh yes, sorry.
That's all right.
That is my bad. We will. It should be all clear for you. All right. Okay. So with that roll, you essentially get 2 pieces of information. Do you want to role play this, or do you want me to summarize?
Yeah, I think just go ahead and summarize at this point.
Okay. With talking with Nyrix and other spirits, they can be a little vague because they're not in the material world. They tell you that this is a place of death, but not human death. It is within the city, and there's also a place of power there too.
Okay.
All right. So, Patrick, Julie, what gather information actions are you doing?
I'm going to do a hunt to find the location so we can scope it out and, get eyes on who's there.
And then I'm going to use survey to assess the location once he has actually found it.
Okay. So please, both of you, make a gather information roll.
Gather information, and it's as many dots as we have in that skill, correct?
Yep. So generally it behooves you to use your best skill. Um,
Okay, so let's see.
Ooh.
Oof.
okay.
So the number. Okay, so it's change the number of dice to how many dots there is.
Yep.
Okay, no modifier,
Nope.
and the position should be risky or controlled.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
There isn't any risk involved in this.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
beautiful.
nice.
Boom. Okay.
I will take that.
All right. Um, so essentially, you know, it, it takes possibly a frustrating amount of time for Lefty to narrow down the possibilities. Find basically in Coleridge, which is one of the other districts, which is literally where Doskvol was originally founded, was a coal mining operation. Um, that there's still an active mine there. There's also a lot of the miners and other associated laborers live there, and then there's the I believe it's called the Ironbound District. I could be confusing that with Newark, New Jersey, for reasons I don't know why. Sorry. Coleridge, the ironworks, close. It's this large complex of manufacturing and other types of businesses. It's also conveniently located on a rail spur. If you go to 264 in the main book, it'll give you a closer map of the area. So there's almost a quarter of that district is taken up by this large complex of different foundries, things that docks that repair and refit the Leviathan hunter ships. The people that are essentially responsible for getting quite literally the lifeblood of the city, which is the blood of Leviathans, demonic sea creatures that gets turned into fuel for the great generators of the city to power the lightning walls, the lightning barriers, and also just keep the lights on. But it also keeps all the feral, rabid, crazy ghosts that have been there since the cataclysm outside of the city and not feeding on the poor bastards inside. Um, so in amongst that snarl of warehouses and foundries and factories, um, there is a building actually on next to the rail spur that is Pritchard and Company. And what you find out what the processing is when a large cargo a train pulls up, and this is coming from the um, other across to one of the other islands, which is Dunslow, which is notable for Iron Gate Prison, where convicts go and do hard labor. So it's also the area where all the big farms are. And you see that it's a cattle, well, not a cattle car, but because they're unloading a large number of pigs into the stockyard. And this is quite clearly a slaughterhouse of some sort, and possibly they do meat processing. So they're it it's very close to, as I said, the rail line, and it gets deliveries periodically. It also sends out the processed meat, sausage, all those things, either by train or, large lorries. So,
Here.
and it's
Oh,
also
yes.
very close to where the coal mine is, or actually where the old coal mine and dumping grounds, the slag heaps. Um, and as you know, there's also vast underground network of tunnels and canals and sewers that go through here. There's also large loading cranes that are loading and unloading full rail cars to some of the
Here
other
it-
industrial works. So, unless Louisa wants to do some information gathering,
No.
will
No.
we need to reconvene for the score and the engagement roll. Now, the way this works is instead of us sitting here for the next 3 hours pounding out the details of a plan, you just need kind of an outline, basically a strategy of how you're doing this and and a detail of essentially how you're going to do this, and then we'll do the engagement roll, and at that point you guys mark down what load you're carrying, and we'll cut to the action. So let me get to the right part of the handouts. All right. Sorry, just a minute. I thought I was better organized than this. Um,
It's okay because apparently Aries has decided that he needs to have some snuggles.
yes. Okay.
You say hi?
Giving us all the look.
Yeah. He is purring though. Oh,
Okay. All right. That's where that is. Have your regularly sponsored cat break. Okay. Um, essentially, you know, the type of plans are assault. You basically, kick in the door and go in guns blazing. Deception. You use some sort of trickery to gain access. This can be anything from, um, pretending to be a delivery person to like luring one of the guards into a trap or something, or blackmailing somebody into letting you in. Can be stealth, which is pretty self-explanatory. You can do you can gain entrance by occult means. You can use social manipulation to get yourself in, or you can physically, you know, transport yourself in with a rail car or something like that. So, what do y'all want to do?
get the feeling that Alchemy wants to blow blow up like a wall.
She is a saboteur with wrecking specialty.
Okay.
You
Just so
know,
you
that
know.
sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm not sure if that's beginning game or end game for a heist.
It
Okay,
it can be
so-
both.
I was like, it's
What's the
alchemy. It is
worst?
the game.
What is the worst that could happen? I mean, really.
You roll poorly on the engagement roll, and things get really interesting really quickly. That's
Okay, so given that, the day-night schedule isn't a thing, does a business like this have downtime?
it basically runs, because this is Victorian-esque industrialism here. So it basically has two shifts: the day shift, the night shift. Day and night are really only demarcated by that's when what's left of the sun rises and then dips down, um, both times. So essentially, there's, almost like a sliver from an eclipse will slowly rise up in the sky. Stuff will get bright, since the weather and all of the smog, suddenly everything gets pretty opaque. It turns into Jack the Ripper London style
Yeah, it's
pea
Pea
soup.
Cooper at all times.
Yeah, so that happens essentially twice a day. Um, the morning from the sunrise, and then it sort of hangs out under the horizon for a bit, is 12 hours, which are numbered, 1 through 12. And then the night time after the second rise has specific names, and we can go into the calendar if it's pertinent. So there are two shifts. People work long hours. Essentially, if you spend like a whole day staking out, you and Cutlass can basically see that the animals get unloaded in the morning. There's some, lots of squealing and unpleasant noises emanating from this
And then
that
there are
goes
the pigs.
on as the pigs are slaughtered, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And then when that shift's done, you assume, most of the people leave. So some of people have been slaughtering and some people are butchering, but the rest of the butchery and like collecting the offal and the blood into blood pudding is made in the night shift, and that's less. There seems to be less people.
So
It's
I
not
would
a
think hit it towards the end of the night shift. People have been there all night. They're tired and bored. Probably unlikely to give us too much resistance or really pay a whole lot of attention, whichever way we want to go in.
Yeah.
okay.
Um, were you able to find out, or is there any kind of like security guard or anything, or is it just it's a slaughterhouse? Who the hell would want to come in there if they don't have to?
There are high gates, some razor wire on the front ones. Yeah, it looks like it tends to mostly leave it up to why the hell would you want to infiltrate a
I
stockyard?
imagine being
Uh,
being a Victorian business, the guards are there to keep the employees from leaving.
and you notice that they're not necessarily guards; they're employees, but you have a spyglass, or one of you does. This doesn't
Yeah.
affect your load, and as you're focusing
Pirate.
in,
Yeah.
you see one of the bulls is dressed like any of the other butchers, leather apron, sleeveless, whatever's under it, big guy, mutton chops with tattoos, and you clock one of the tattoos very prominently is a pair of crossed bill hooks, and which implies, because nobody would be stupid enough to get that kind of tattoo without belonging to the Bill Hooks gang, which is a gang of thugs that are slaughterhouse butchers. They have a bloody reputation, and so they aren't necessarily, you know, guards. There are blue coats, cops that patrol the area, but it looks like they're more shaking down owners for their daily bribe or what have you.
Yeah.
Like you see a couple blue coats come up, knock on the front gates, someone passes them a package, looks like there's some meat there, that sort of thing. But the guys inside who are bossing people around tend to be bigger, thuggish looking folks that all have the billhook tattoo.
Okay. We, on the other hand, do not know where in the facility we need to go yet, aside from, what was it, Operation 8?
Well, this is number 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
Number
So we
8
just need to fuck
is
the whole place up.
And
you get. Sorry, I flubbed the intro a little bit. Alchemy did get the impression as she was getting these flashes. Once she saw the circle, it literally pulled up through the ground, and you see like layers of. It first starts out in what looks like a catacomb, and then sewers and sub basements, and then it pulls up to the building and the sign. My apologies. You get a cool idea, and
so, assuming for the moment that she has at some point shared more of the details of her visions with us,
it's under the building somewhere.
Okay.
there is. This place houses a place of power. It would behoove us to step lightly, or perhaps use it to our advantage.
So we need to sneak in under the building. Means we need to go in, figure out how to get underneath it, and go under it. My thinking would be we set a distraction that is perhaps explosive and maybe a bit incendiary too on one side of the building, and then we come in from the other side while anybody there is trying to deal with all the stuff going on the other side. It should clear most of the building. Um, get the staff busy doing some real work for a living. And then we go in the other side, figure out where we need to go, head down, take care of the place of power. Maybe line our coats a little bit if we can. I would very much appreciate perhaps, getting some bacon while we are also trying to,
Yes.
make any coin there, because
Yes.
otherwise I'm going out hunting for some rats and nobody wants to eat that.
And there's pigeons all over the place too.
Excellent.
We can poison them
Swab.
in the park.
Yeah. So, sound like a plan for y'all?
Yep.
Okay. So that kind of sounds like a mixture of assault and deception.
Yes.
So, which one of you wants to do the engagement roll?
I go boom.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
You just need to have it have a long enough fuse for you to get over to where we are before it goes off.
I have good aim with my grenades.
okay. So,
Like setting out building on fire.
Because I will say that's in one of the spots I have put grenades on my bandolier.
well, we'll just hand wave that like you brought in a charge, it's used up, and then you have whatever's left on you. It won't take up a
Okay.
a
Slut.
a inventory slot unless maybe if you screw up badly enough, we'll use that as a
Okay.
consequence.
Okay.
So essentially, you pick what action you're using, which it sounds like wreck.
Rack with saboteur as a
Okay.
Because the work becomes quieter than it should be, and the damage. Oh, no, you know what? I'm not going to saboteur because we want them to go run into it.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Okay. So, wow. Way to screw up GMing here. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
wrong chart. So, all right. Sorry. Scratch the action bit. You basically start out with 1 die, just sheer luck. Then you get every die for major advantage. Like if there's a, you know, is this particularly bold or daring? I'd say yes. Blowing the side of a building up is. That's so 2 die so far. Is it exposing a vulnerability? Maybe, maybe not. There's a case if you're timing this for when people are exhausted and distracted. I can see that. And then another die if you're leaning on somebody to help with this.
Is there any way that I can get some of Nyrix's friends to just kind of cause pandemonium in concert with the explosion?
Let's save that for a flashback, depending on how the
Fair.
engagement
Okay.
works. We'll keep that in back pocket to maybe get you out of a jam.
Love it. Okay.
Okay. So it sounds like we're at
We're at
3
up.
die.
Yep.
Yep.
you die
So who
or controlled.
it again, there shouldn't whoever coded this, I need to talk to them a little bit. there isn't this. This sets whether or not
Right.
it's controlled, risky, or
Right.
desperate.
With a standard effect. So what I'm saying that she's going to do, because she's much more with it than she was the night before, because
Yes.
we mentioned blowing things up.
Said, ooh.
And so she has taken a charge and put it on kind of kitty corner from where the rest of the party is on a wall, set the equivalent of the clockwork timer, and book the hell out of there with the hope of
Okay, we'll stop you
going
there
up.
and make that engagement roll, please. So just roll 3 dice. and-
Engagement, not action, not wreck.
Yes, I screwed that part up earlier. I apologize. So just engagement, 3 dice, if you would, please. Okay. So, you may not have been as sober as you thought. So doesn't mean that it fails. It means you guys are in desperate straits. So,
Can we spend an XP to reroll?
no. So
Wrong game.
Louisa goes to book it, and she hears it go click as the charge blows and blows that side of the building open. And on the other side of the building, you hear the charge go off, and Louisa isn't there. There are a bunch of people screaming, shouting, yelling, and yes, the distractions worked. They're off the side of the building where you guys are. However, they're running straight towards where Louisa is. You've basically, hit the deck, left your mouth open so your eardrums don't blow out. And you're sort of laying on the cobblestones covered in dust as you hear boots tramping as they're coming for the breach. So
Okay. I'm running. I'm leaving Arcanum with Lefty, and I'm running to go and get alchemy.
Okay. I am
And since the distraction has to essence worked, Arcanum and I are going to go in. We're going to see if we can find where the entrance to the basement is while they're looking, and then they can, spot us because we're not going to go into the basement until they've caught back up with us.
Okay.
See,
Sounds good. I
you-
am going to start a clock, which is
So you do, by the way, kind of have to drag Arcanum into the building because they are very, very distraught about what is happening to what has possibly happened to Alchemy.
yeah. This is a fairly big place. I don't know if you're cutting through it or going around the hard way. I'm going to start a 4-section clock for steel to meet up with alchemy. Sound
Okay.
good? All right. So we've got alchemy unharmed, but basically about to meet up with some rather angry fellows. Let's start there. What are you doing?
I roll over, sit up, shake my head, look around, and go, fuck. And I see them running towards me. And using my sway ability,
Okay.
I want to look at them and point away from where my crew is, like in the opposite direction, going, he went that way. Little kid about this tall.
Okay. And
That way.
we'll make a I love it. We'll make a slight edit to the continuity and say, okay, yeah, you may have been a little high. You're used to that.
Yeah.
You didn't really fuck up. You like said it all, and then one of those goddamn pigeons flew down and was like, "Ooh, shiny," or a crow, and was like, "Shiny." Poke, boom.
Feathers everywhere.
It went that way.
Feathers everywhere. Okay, so roll sway.
Oh.
Sway sounds good. So this
Oh.
is desperate. Um,
Ah.
Just one die.
whatever you have in that
Yeah, I got
that
one
ability.
dot. So
Okay, you. All right.
or do I get two? One for just sway and then one for the dot.
No, you just get one. However,
Okay.
you have some options here. Were somebody there with you, which not yet.
Not
they
yet.
could they could help. You can push yourself. You take 2 stress and you get another die. Or you can take a devil's bargain. Basically, you get another die, but there's always a price to it.
I'll just put the one die at this moment.
Okay. What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
That.
Okay, so
It wasn't a one.
they're totally not buying. Like they're like, I didn't see a kid.
You have a detonator in your hand.
You're covered in smoke powder and rock dust. Get her, boys. And then we're gonna cut to Patrick and Trevor. Sorry, Lefty and Arcane. What are you doing?
All right, we're gonna have to sneak through the fence. So, let's see.
Fortunately, the one dot I put in anything under prowess is in prowl.
Yeah, we're gonna try to find a gate opening or weakness in it. We're gonna try to sneak through with no one spotting us.
Yep.
Okay. So this sounds like a group action.
Okay.
So you pick who's leading it. Generally, whoever's got the better action rating. You both roll whatever dice you have. You take the highest out of that pool. However, for every not optimal result of the person who's getting led, the leader takes some stress. As in, like you're like grabbing anything that they may step on, or or just the stress of like trying to keep a slightly not in the reality um, young lordling from like bumping into a wall or kicking a can.
Yep.
So,
Um,
what do you have in Prowl, Lefty?
Well, I also only have the one.
So I'm thinking that it might be time to spend one of my load uh, on some subterfuge supplies.
okay.
Uh, do we think that that would include things that would help us get through, like wire snips, blankets, so that we don't, snag on the sharp edges, because
Um,
nothing ever works as easily as we want, and so given that we
that
would probably end up having to sneak in.
that's more like burglary
Yeah, I
gear.
think
Well,
burglary gear would do it.
Yes,
Um,
because there's burglary gear and there's subterfuge supplies, both on my
s-
list.
yeah, the subterfuge supplies are more like a disguise kit,
Got it.
forged documents,
Okay, got it,
that sort of thing. It's whatever to sell the con
got
or
it. Okay.
the disguise. Um,
And I have burglary gear too, so
yeah, I think it's part of the standard
yeah, yeah.
items.
Okay, so he's sneaking in, and I'm basically providing cover in the hopes that nobody spots us, and if we do, I'll shoot them.
Yeah. So does that mean that
No,
Arcane is leading?
yeah, Arcane will lead. I'll follow. But once again, keeping an eye.
Okay, so I'm rolling prowl. I get one die. I'm assuming I get a second die for the burglary gear.
No, it just allows you to do this in this case.
Shit. Okay.
Um, or actually, how are you using this
Um,
burglary?
So depending on exactly what I have, um, I'm gonna say I'm going to use the pry bar to kind of uh, work open any small crevice that we may find in any crack that we find in the fence. I will. It says here I have a coil of wire and fishing hooks, which look like lovely things to further tie those back, uh, to further decrease our chance of snagging ourselves on them. And then I have I think I have the sand at the ready, so that in case someone does spot us, I'm going to throw it in their face and in their eyes.
Good pocket sand. Okay. Sure. I'll we'll call this a devil's bargain.
Okay.
Essentially, yeah, you're gonna do this. You'll get another die for it,
Okay.
but it uses it. You don't have access to that item,
Okay.
and you lose. And you still mark it off
Sure.
your inventory.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Sounds lovely.
Okay, let me get to. Sorry. Hey, Matt. Bookmarks would be good. Is it under leading?
So, out of curiosity, I'm seeing under XP it says every time you roll a desperate action, mark XP in that action's attribute. So,
Yep.
alchemy, would you have
Yep.
marked one in prowess?
Yeah, You
In resolve because I used for sway.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
yeah, it's still a desperate action. If you succeed or fail, you still get it. Any of those items, you can mark it up to 2 times.
And it won't let me mark it, but I wrote it down.
Okay. So I'm rolling this with a total of 2 dice, desperate and standard. Yes.
Standard effect.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh.
Wow, they don't.
Woo!
Okay. Um,
Do I bother rolling a die, or am I rolling something else to deal with whatever?
roll a die. Roll your what a prowl. You can again push yourself, take some stress to get another die, or you know, sell me an idea, or we can do a flashback to something you may have set up when you and Cutlass were scouting the joint.
Well, we haven't done a flashback, so let's try that.
Okay, so tell me what you did to prepare for this eventuality.
So, knowing that we were planning on going on both sides, there is I assume, a gate with some sort of guardhouse or something right there to at each of the gates, so there's some employee who will at least answer it when somebody comes to it, correct?
Yeah, there's like a big clunky clockwork style buzzer and an intercom there.
Okay. So I asked Alchemy to prepare a second explosive I'm just going to put it in a box as though we're delivery, and um, just in case we needed to get through a door using an explosion as opposed to anything nice, calm, and
Yeah.
quiet, because I can get around places, but I can't necessarily get into places. And so I have a delivery to offer up at the gate to see if some fool's going to come over and take it, or if they want me to leave it at the gate, and that'll
Dude.
solve the problem itself.
Okay. That doesn't sound like you're prowling though.
No,
Uh,
actually, because that's more
I'll
of a rock
I'll
thing, which I'm no good at.
yeah. I mean, I'll allow it. I'll allow you to change your action as wreck.
But I have not in rock, so well, with the explosive, that would be like 1 die.
Yeah. With really potential interesting consequences if
Uh,
this mucks up.
Let me think here.
So, I mean, on the table is still just pushing yourself for an extra die, or,
I haven't taken any stress either, so let's try that.
okay.
So I will do a prowl. So let's see.
So 2 die. Um, Again, it's desperate, but standard results.
100. And how much stress will I acquire out of this?
Okay. Okay, so you're taking 2 for the.
Okay. Oh, there's nothing on this box for it.
Okay, yeah, just manually
Roll it
put
and
in
then take 2 stress.
2 stress.
All right.
You're
Rolls up. Why are there 3 dice?
don't know.
Oh, I hit 2. Oh, it. Oh, wait, no. So I clicked on it and then I hit 2, so it must have added those 2 to the 1.
Yep.
Uh, okay, you want I should re-roll that?
Yeah.
Okay, modifiers plus 1 die, not plus 2 die. All right, this is risky. It's desperate. Let's try this again.
Okay.
All right.
You do it. you know, it's a little bit, you're basically going over the wall at this point. Is that what we
We're
established?
I thought we were using a pry bar to pull apart part of the gate, and then part of the wall, so the others can sneak in behind us.
Okay. I mean, you're sorry. Well, time out for a second. Basically, you're on the outside of this, you know, large slaughterhouse. Are you going through the front gate?
No, okay, no, we're gonna camp right over
Delivery
there.
interests?
Well, is the delivery entrance open and just being watched because we can sneak in?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna like turn my collar up, look like some forlorn person who actually works for a living, and just kind of walk in like I belong there.
Okay. You do take an extra stress because Lionel is a little more less, less sneaky than you. Um, and it does make some noise, but there's nobody automatically there.
Okay.
I'm going to, as the, um, but you can hear people milling around.
We're in, but we're not completely inconspicuous. So
No, no. So
double
I'm
team.
going to start another clock with you two, um, Lefty and um,
Arcanum.
Arcanum um, gets discovered. I'm misspelling that, but for game flow, I'm just not going to give a shit. And I'm going to mark it as let's see, two clock pieces are already filled in. So you're sneaking in by the edge of your teeth. So we'll cut to Cutlass. What are you doing?
Um,
Do you try and go over the wall, cut through or actually, here, tell me what you're doing, and then we'll.
okay, I'm trying to make sure that alchemy is actually getting away from the crowd of people rushing towards the explosion safely.
Okay, so um, essentially, you see Lefty with the help of Arcane sort of pop the back gate at the loading dock open. It makes more noise than you're really comfortable with. So you can book it in through that direction, or you can go around the building. Um,
Yeah,
or
she's
or something else. Like you can
yeah,
climb
she's
up.
on the outside, so I'm just gonna keep running towards her on the outside.
Okay, so you're booking it around
Yeah, I
the
don't want to have to potentially have to fight through a crowd of people to get to her if necessary.
you know, with meat hooks and cleavers and
Yeah,
handheld bill
yes,
hooks, that sort of thing. Yeah,
because I don't have the whaling harpoon with me.
well, maybe you
Uh,
do. You can. You
I
just have to.
could.
You could, but it doesn't have to be. So what? So how you're running flat out? You trying
I'm
to skulk around?
I'm running flat out. I literally have got one hand on the hilt of the cutlass, ready to draw it if
Okay.
necessary.
So what action are you using to do this?
Well, there isn't really a real.
No, there isn't.
No.
It
No, but I do have so the bodyguard ability. I'm not sure if that comes into play at this point for
not
closing ground.
at this point.
Not at this point.
It,
Okay.
if you're looking for, are you looking for a little guidance? I don't want to
Yes.
tell
Yeah.
you what to do. Okay, we can put it as um, essentially this is like, let's say hunt, as you're just trying to, you
Okay.
know, locate her, or if we want to say that, because there's an explosion, that there's people on the street, um, I will let you use skirmish.
Okay.
But the devil, and with an extra dice as a devil's bargain. But that basically means you're plowing through bystanders.
I'm
So,
okay with that.
you most likely may be taking some extra heat at the end of all of this. You also
Eh,
may be planting some old granny into the ground, but okay.
yeah.
All right. So it is a
So the skirmish roll.
+1. It's
Okay.
still kind of desperate.
Okay. So with the modifier of +1.
Yeah, or you
Yeah.
can just drop down 3 dice. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you click on the action, the modifier is how many you're adding, not the total number of them.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Because I've got 2 dots. Because I've got two dots in
Yeah,
skirmish.
so then
So
+1.
it's okay. So that's change the number of dice to two dice, and then add in +1.
Yep.
Okay. And we're not and we're ignoring the whole position is
No, the position's desperate.
okay.
How big is Cutlass?
Steel is
Sorry, Steel, not
yeah
Cutlass.
yeah
Um,
yeah Steel. She uses the cutlass. Um,
or physically powerful. It doesn't have to be
she
size.
she's athletic, so she's not she's like basically my approximate size, but better toned muscles because she actually exercises
Okay,
but
so
beating the
so
crap out of people.
so we'll so we'll give you, this is great effect because you're basically just linebackering. Here's a athletic woman with a cutlass on her, possibly in the sheath held out in front of her, just clotheslining her way through people.
Yep.
And if she picks her targets like old grandmas, I mean, it'll be a lot easier for her.
Yeah, there
Oh,
could be some hip checking in there too.
okay, so sounds like a plan. So
Okay, let's roll those dice and see what happens.
yep. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll take a partial success.
Okay. So you plow through the crowd of people as it's coming. You're not quite there, but you can see Alchemy sort of like pointing and a bunch of angry people coming. I'm going to start another clock because this is what the system is good for, and somebody's going to call the cops. Um, okay. Coats, not coast. Jesus, sorry. And that's going to be a 6-piece clock. Okay. So back to alchemy. There's some large, angry guys, including this big bull with like a stained undershirt and a leather apron over that with, very dubious stains on it, with, a cleaver in his hand and, the billhook tattoo. And also, he's gotten the clever idea of having tattoos like a butcher's diagram for all the cuts of meat on his body. And he's leading, there's like three guys with him stalking up to you, and you can see Steel running full tilt as like some granny's like hits the ground, cobblestones, breaks a hip. Um, and she's like, she's almost on you guys, we'll say like 10 feet away.
Okay. And how far are they from me?
They're, I mean, they've got to get over rubble, and there's, still a cloud of smoke and brick dust, and, twisted metal and stuff
Great
around.
video game.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they'll be on you if you don't do something right now.
Okay. I would like to retcon that one of the vials in my bandolier is standstill powder.
Doesn't have to be retcon. It's just part of that load on the bandolier.
Yep. So it's standstill powder, which is a powder that causes temporary paralysis,
Okay.
used according to page 234 of the
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
And so I pull it out and I just wail it with the hopes that it lands right at their feet, explodes on the rubble, and they get enough of it to be paralyzed.
Okay. So, love it. What action are you using?
Well, I got wreck. I don't have any finesse or anything like that. So, I'm just, I'm going to throw it with all my might to break it on the ground at their feet
Okay.
using wreck.
Sounds good. Are you
I will take a stress.
okay? All right. So we're still in desperate straits, I'll say, with the tool. This is going to have great effect.
Great effect. Okay. So to 3 dice.
3 dice.
All right. Why did it only do 2? Can I roll again?
Re-roll that with 3 dice.
You need to click on yours and then do the add of 1 die to it.
Or go over to the die symbol on the left hand side and just pull down 3 die. Either way.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, you
Nice.
crit. Okay, so there are no.
Fucking sand.
Yeah, there
So
are.
does that mean I don't get a stress?
No, you get the stress
Damn.
because you push.
Had to try.
You feel something in your shoulder strain a bit as you huck this thing perfectly right at their feet. This is this is your thing. So you've judged the distance, the timing, and the dose just perfectly. And these 4 Palookas just drop. And there's a cloud of dust and smoke, and a smaller, little twinkling cloud of powder that dissipates. So we'll reset everybody back to Risky. Um, and we'll cut back to Trevor and Patrick. So you have snuck in to the loading area. What are you doing?
So we need to find access into the basement. It is not obviously going to be the easiest place to find, I would imagine.
Okay.
Um, can I use Ghost Mind to survey to try to find a path to the place of power?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one. You said we're at Risky?
You're at Risky now.
Okay. Please. Well, it's something at least.
If you want to. All right. There are two options here.
Okay.
I'll let you push it or get a devil's bargain for one more die on that roll. You just roll another die.
Yeah.
Or we'll do your flashback idea.
And how much stress is the flashback?
Tell me what you're doing.
I have an idea.
Go for it.
When Alchemy had her vision, she saw the, building kind of construct up, so she saw where it was, and she actually had the forethought to tell you what she had seen, so you happen to know at least, oh, you're looking for this door.
Love it.
Yep. Okay, so it's that essentially there are multiple ways down. You're in the loading dock area. There is essentially like a maintenance door that goes down into the basement. Also on the main slaughterhouse floor and also where they're doing the butchery, there are a number of grates for the blood to drain and big buckets of seaweed or oats to collect it to turn it into blood sausage. So you essentially have a couple options of how you want to access the basement. And somewhere in there is access to the tunnels below there and where you think the catacomb area is.
Personally, I'd recommend the door because I don't feel like wallowing in a big pool of blood. That might make the escape difficult.
Yeah.
You don't have to, literally do the Altair leap of faith into a pool of blood. You can just access the hatch and go down, but there is a maintenance door off where, the loading dock and the warehouse is.
So Arcanum stops for a second and he's looking at the blood and he's looking at the drains and the grates. And he gets a momentary flashback to his time in hell.
Okay.
And he's just seeing just rivers of blood just flowing everywhere. There are blood waterfalls, there are blood volcanoes. Hell is not a nice place. And so he kind of, for a moment, he kind of recalls the things that he had to do to try to get out of there, and you see him start to go towards the grates, and then he looks back and he remembers that Lefty is with him, and that kind of lets him clear his head, and they go for the maintenance door.
Okay. So, all right, nobody's in the loading dock, but people in the warehouse and the other processing areas. has line of sight to you guys. You make it to the door and like, all right, thank the lady, we're here, and then it rattle. It's locked.
I already burned my burglary gear.
Yep. I mean, you have other tools, and Patrick has tools.
Uh,
Well, I have.
so, Patrick, what exactly are electroplasm vials? Because they're on my item list. But if they're
If you hover over it, you should be able to get a description.
okay,
Why don't you read off what that is?
I would love to, but nope, it does not have one.
Okay, let me look that up for you.
It's like the only one that doesn't, because of course.
Of course. Okay, let's get back into the standard item. I think
No, it's not a standard. It's one of the ones just for Whisper.
the whisper. Okay. Um, um, no, are you thinking of something in Patrick's?
No, I'm
Okay.
if you open my sheet,
Yep.
the second one down in the left hand items column is electroplasm vials.
Okay, the left. Okay. Because that's not actually in the rules reference because yeah, gonna need let's see in the playbooks if there's something like that. Nope, that's listed. Let's see if Matt just dyslexia has.
Oh, yep. No, it is not in the Whisper items.
Okay. Electroplasm is essentially, well, let me do a keyword search as I'm talking.
Electroplasmic powder and electroplasmic ammo.
Yeah, I can get electroplasmic ammo, but that's for shooting ghosts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, balls. Electroplasm
So let me
is
cut to the bottom of the page. Is it something that I could use to basically blow the door open?
yes. Electroplasm is basically the high energy sort of arcane stuff that is what the essentially process Leviathan blood
Okay.
into, and that's the the lightning barriers are basically huge walls, basically a force field
Okay.
of electroplasm. So we'll go with that, not to bog down shit.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Vial of electroplasm designed to break and splatter on impact. It's caustic. Okay, so we'll say that you're using it to melt the lockout.
Yep.
How does that? do. All right. And so, what action are you?
Um, I'm going to use survey to find the weak spot in the lock and apply it there for maximum effort.
Okay. Sounds good. Do you want a devil's bargain?
Um, sure.
Okay. Let's say that you can do this, but it takes a little bit longer. So you will be spotted as the door opens.
Okay.
And basically, the last pie piece gets
Yep.
filled in.
So this is still risky.
This is risky,
Okay.
yes.
There we go.
There you go. Okay, so like a charm, it takes you a few moments, longer than Lefty's entirely comfortable. Like you're looking around, sort of providing cover for it, and just as like the door opens, um, like one of the schlubs on the in the warehouse sort of looks up, has like a case of bacon on him, and literally locks eyes with Lefty as the door swings open, and we cut back to Arcane and Steel. So,
No, alchemy and steel.
sorry, Alchemy is Steel.
I do.
Ah, high
Has,
production values here, folks.
Right?
has Steel gotten to the point where I can see her coming?
Yeah, you basically bought enough time that you guys are together.
Okay.
There's still sort of a cloud of gunpowder dust and brick dust and other stuff. The walls breached, and you can even tell me, like, are you breaching directly into the factory floor?
Like part of me, and I kind of look at her, and you can tell for like one of the few times in your entire knowing of Louisa, she is completely lucid. She is right there. She don't like it. She is not happy. But and she's like, do we blend it into the crowd to try and get around, or do we just go in?
We just go in at this point. There's no blending in.
Okay.
Okay.
We got to
So,
avoid the idiots because we don't want to get caught by any of the powder that I threw at them.
Okay.
yeah, they're on the ground. Basically,
Yeah, but there might still be a little bit of the powder in the air, and we don't want to get that.
yeah, that is a potential consequence, but we'll address that when it comes. So, I guess what I didn't clearly ask is when you set up this distraction, was it into the stockyard, like the inside the compound, but outside of the building proper, or was this literally on the wall of
Oh,
of the?
literally on the wall.
Okay, so basically, smash cut from the other group to you guys. You're literally like inside a smoke grenade because of all this stuff, and you can hear people milling about. You know, there's like somebody on the ground screaming because they caught some shrapnel, and like, oi, where did the boss go? So, what do you do now? What do you guys want to do?
The boss
Okay.
left. I just screamed, the boss left. He ran out the door. He left us.
Okay.
Okay.
As like trying to weave in.
Okay, like get behind me and grab onto my coattails. Like I am dead serious. I am going to the way that I came to get her. It's the way I'm going to push back through the crowd. I'm going to use myself as a battering ram to get her free of the crowd.
Okay, so we're doing the same thing.
We're doing the same thing in reverse with her tucked in behind me.
Okay, so you're gonna linebacker your way through this
Yes.
one more time.
Yes.
Okay, are you pushing yourself, or do you want to devil's bargain, or are you just gonna roll this straight?
I'm going to use my command ability to try to clear people out of the way verbally.
Okay, yeah, so less bulldozing your way and just being like, you get that guy a split, you go that way, you know, that sort of
Yes.
thing. Okay,
Yes.
brilliant.
Absolutely physicking this.
Yes,
Everybody move!
Yeah, yes.
yes, basically, like, got wounded here. Get the bloody fuck out of the way. All right, so you just rolling the dice natural, or are you gonna try and
Well, I'm doing this to protect. I'm trying to make it safer um to get alchemy clear. So I want to use the bodyguard special ability with it.
yeah,
If
that
that's I'm still trying to figure out how to actually use that.
okay. I
Okay,
mean,
well,
it isn't, it's more of protecting them from harm. You take the hit,
okay,
that sort of thing. Also, when
okay.
you're
I'll just do a straight roll then.
okay, and my bad, because you actually should have gotten another die for your gather information. Helps to actually read the abilities, Matt. Because when you're doing gather info, you get extra effect to sort of locate threats and try and mitigate those when you're
Okay,
planning. That doesn't really come up here. I can, you know, again, I can say, like, you can take stress to do that, but that mechanically is just like pushing yourself. Your
yeah,
instincts are to protect Louisa. You've got her tucked in like
yeah,
she's wounded, and you're making it like, you've got somebody who's hurt. It sounds like.
yeah,
Is that reasonable?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, am I adding any dice to it or just going with the 2 dice for my 2 dots
That
in the action?
It's question of if you're pushing yourself or not.
I'm not gonna push myself.
Okay. So just roll them straight.
Okay,
There you go. You got a 6. It works. People clear out. They're like, oh, yeah, yeah. You know,
excellent.
so you get through. Um,
So I want to get her to where there's the other side where there's hopefully the main entranceway and try to figure out where the hell Arcanum and Lefty are.
okay. So you're on the slaughterhouse floor in the middle of everything. So there are blood gutters that you can just lift up, go downstairs if you want. Lefty is, let's say, you can see like where, they've got meat grinders and sausage casing, and through that there's sort of like a warehouse and the loading dock, and you see some guy, uh, as you sort of like do the dolly zoom camera cut, you basically zoom in, you see Lefty there, kind of like looking like, uh-oh, and some guy making eye contact with him. That's they're, it'll take an action or two to get to them, but you can see where they are.
Okay. We're catching up with them.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Yep. So you can either try and slide down one of the grates, or you can try and, you know,
So the question is, as she looks at me, do I see her as well?
out of the corner. Yeah, like let's go with that. We'll do sort of lock, stock, and two smoking barrels. That you sort of like smash cut to the guy seeing you, and then you see her.
Look over,
and,
see her. She sees
and
me.
she sees you, and she's kind of looking like, dude, really? Or you Navi bastard, how did you fuck this up? Okay. Before we jump back to you guys, Louisa, do you want to do anything right now? Callista has you, mother hinned you like under her arm, quite literally.
I am only mildly protesting that,
Okay.
because I recognize that I'm squishy.
Okay.
I may
just
be
Yeah.
all bones and angles, but I'm still squishy.
yes. Well, I just wanted, we took care of her action.
Right.
I
Yeah,
just
I'm
wanted
just
to.
going along with it. I'm
Okay.
swearing under my breath because, as you said, my shoulder's dislocated.
Well,
And
it strained it. You didn't
oh, okay.
actually take harm.
Oh, okay.
You took stress, so you like definitely pushed something. You're going to be sore in the morning.
Gotcha. But I'm still cursing up a storm because right now is not the time to reach for the drugs.
Yeah, it hurts. You're a little distracted because of the stress, but
Yeah.
and possibly later on you might actually dislocate your shoulder. We don't know.
Right.
But right now it's just stress.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm just, but I am swearing because I am sober and I do not like this feeling.
Yeah, and everybody's got the tinnitus going on right
Mhm.
now because
Yeah.
there was a big boom, or you do at least.
Yes.
And so do the dudes on the factory floor. So we'll cut back to Lefty and Arcane. Lefty, you're spotted. What do you do?
I make a hand signal to our cohorts on the floor, pointing downward,
Okay.
hoping that she'll get it. And then I step backwards into Arcanum to shove him through the door
Okay.
as I am sliding my hands underneath my coat in case this guy decides to pursue us. But if he
Okay.
does, hopefully he'll do it on the other side of this door where nobody else is going to hear what's going to happen to him.
Okay. Arcanum, what are you doing?
I am accepting the fact that he's out of line, but he's right. So yes, I'm letting myself get shoved through the door. What is on the other side of the door?
Stairs going down.
I will begin to descend them.
Okay. Lefty. Does this sound like a okay? Are you doing anything actively to stop this guy who's basically just said, you locked eye contact, you did that, and he's like, "Hey!" drops the crate of bacon on the ground and is coming at you.
I'm disappearing through the door,
Okay.
and with enough of a look, saying, "Okay, stairs." So then I pull out the pistols, and I am backing up, waiting for him to come into the door.
Okay.
So it's a
All right.
loud factory floor. Hopefully, not too many people are going to hear it.
Okay. So you guys are backing down the stairs, or you're backing down cautiously, and Arcane may be moving a bit faster, and the guy gets, you see him silhouetted in the door, and he's like, "You're not supposed to be in there." What do you do?
I shoot him.
Okay.
Solve a problem with violence. That's one of the things on my list. I think I'll try that.
Yep.
Okie dokiness. So, you using your pistoles,
Yes.
your
When you
special
bring a
fine.
pistol, all problems look like a target.
Yeah,
So-
you using your. I think you get access to fancy pistols if you.
Yes. Yes. Fine pair of pistols.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So risky, because this is definitely risky. It's a fine pair of pistols, so this will be great effect. And what action are you using to shoot this poor bastard?
That'll be hunt.
Okay, that's
I'm kind of hoping, given the narrow corridor, this will be like fish in a barrel. We will
okay.
see.
So you're saying you've basically lured him into a kill box.
Yes, exactly. I lured him into the doorway. That gives me, there's a finite amount of places that I can shoot that won't be him.
Okay. Yep. And he's silhouetted perfectly. So roll that.
Okay. Do I get any other bonuses?
Not unless
Okay.
you know the deal at this point. It's either push it or ask for a
Well, no
devil's
need to
bargain.
push it, because if I don't hit him, he'll either come after me or he'll run. We'll burn that bridge
Okay.
when we cross it.
Yep. Okay. Yes. You definitely hit him. Describe, this is the Matt Mercer, how do you want to do this moment? You've got
Okay.
2 pistols up at him.
So, not wanting to, burn through all of my ammo all at once, because you don't know how many are going to be there. So I take a solid mid-body shot just to, basically hit him and try to incapacitate him. I'm not expecting to kill him because I didn't take time to aim. So hence the, even though of great effect, I'm hoping it will force him just to drop to the ground.
No,
And-
he's you dome the motherfucker.
Oh, okay. Oh, fabulous. Okay, yeah. So I sit there, take a shot at him. He drops. I step up the stairs, grab him by the back of the coat, and pull him down with us.
Okay. All right. It
And of
is
course,
loud.
sitting in the doorway. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't think anybody on the floor proper has heard it because of all the noise and the chaos.
But just to be sure, I'm going to, after I pull him down, I'm going to step over him, grab the door, pull it shut.
Okay.
Even if the lock's broken, it can at least be in a more or less closed position, and maybe nobody will see, whatever blood happens to be right at the bottom of the door. It's a slaughterhouse. There's blood everywhere anyway, right?
Right.
It's
Okay.
just not somebody's boots.
So, your consequence in this is I've started a clock that you don't know and you can't see. All right. So I am going to hand wave that the 2 parties come back together. Because as much fun as doing all the movie cuts, jumping back and front, it is getting late, so we should get moving. So y'all are in the basement. You find, you get through all of the machinery and you get lower, basically, to essentially where the stuff that they can't actually use anything, any more of the animal essentially gets sluiced off. So you're sort of like in this. Yeah, you're basically in a drain, not well, kind of a sewer, because there's probably pig shit getting flushed down here too, and other useless viscera. Um, and essentially, there's you're sort of in sort of a confluence of tunnels and things, and there's a old, very ornate circular brass door set into the brickwork of the side this of this tunnel.
Well, I think that means I'm up. So I will take out the fine spirit mask that I thought to pack,
Okay.
and the ghost key that I always have with me. And I'm going to attempt to see if I can excuse me, use the ghost key to unlock the door.
I love it. So you basically so yeah. So are you using a tune for this?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I get great effect since it's the fine mask?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll give that to you.
I will push myself, so that's 2 stress.
Yep.
Okay. Die. Come on. Okay, didn't actually roll it. What the hell? Oh, because I hit close instead of roll. That would do it.
Hey, we're all learning.
Yep.
It's all good.
Yes! That's what
All
I
right.
want.
So, you want to narrate this or shall I?
Sure. So Lionel, he starts running for the door as he's pulling the mask out because he is now well aware of the fact that time is short. The mask is actually, it kind of looks like a Japanese oni mask. It's got like the long tongue sticking out and the very, the wide eyes. But it has kind of two ram's horns that curl back, almost like a tiefling.
Funny that.
Yeah. And it is the base color of the mask is red, but it is streaked through with green strikes of lightning. And as he bends down to the lock and takes out the key, you see that the key and the eyes of the mask start to glow the same color, and it's that green of the lightning. Not, it's more green than there in Alchemy's eyes. It's not quite neon, but it's close. And as they do the mojo with the ghost key, basically they look and they see kind of this arcane, magical, supernatural lock kind of floating in front of the door. And the ghost key goes in, and they turn it, and it resists at first, and you start to hear they start to let out a grunt / scream of effort, and they finally get it, and the door opens just a little bit, enough that they can push it through, opens away from them.
Love it. All right. So, push open, possibly a little Aragorn at Helm's Deep.
Sure.
Throwing the doors of Edoras open, and you see it basically On the other side of the brickwork is like literally rough hewn walls um, and the info that you also got from the spirits, vague as they are, is that this is back in the early days when before they figured out things like the how to electroplasmically cremate bodies, but this is where the miners hundreds of years ago dug in and literally used this as catacombs, and you go deeper down into it until a natural rock chamber with those octagonal rock formations that look artificial but are actually real, ringing the area. But the floor is smooth, and somebody's laid very carefully marble tiles, very smooth, perfectly joined floor, and at the center of it is this arcane ring inscribed in a large circle, um, inscribed in metal that's literally been, you know, um, etched and placed into the ring. In the middle of the ring is almost looks like something naturally grew out of the ground, even though, and the center of the green is actually the bedrock and not the tile that surrounds it. And what starts out looking like a natural formation at its base, like roots, like almost like a tree, has formed into a statue of the lady. Arms crossed, the veil covering the face, but a hint of a skull underneath it, and a crown of antlers. You look around, and those sigils in the ground, you can see through your ghost vision that they're active. And you look over, next to the circle is this odd contraption that essentially has, very thick, almost leads connecting itself to the circle, and some sort of like pump seems to be going somewhere in the middle of the machine, and you can feel heat coming off from this machine, and it seems to be powering the circle. What do you guys want to do?
Well, this seems like a prime opportunity to wreck something, doesn't it?
Sister!
I'm here. This is what I saw.
I believe it will take all of us. I take out some arcane implements.
Okay.
And an unusual weapon, which I'm going to say is a life energy channeler.
Okay.
With conveniently enough, 4 arm cuffs on it, 3 that are red and one that is green. I look to Lefty and Steel and say, please, and I hold out the 3 red ones to the 3 of you.
I don't even
Okay.
think
Yep, took
twice.
right in. It's the fun thing about being a zealot. You don't have to have questions when somebody's doing something crazy.
Right.
I'm just crazy.
Well, and so I can't imagine this is the first time that the 2 of us have
Right.
like deconstructed a a supernatural artifact or a supernatural machine like
Right.
this, where you're basically taking care of the physical side and I'm taking care of the supernatural
Yep.
side.
And I have my fine wrecking tools out.
Okay.
Okay. And so basically what I would um what the energy thing is, I would like to say, Matt, if this is okay with you, that basically this would allow any one or more of the three of them to pay stress to add dice to my roll. Because story-wise, it's fucking cool.
It is fucking cool. Okay. So obviously Louisa is wrecking.
Without hesitation.
Yep.
Okay. What are you doing? What action are you taking?
I am going to attune to use my implements to figure out what power, if this thing is using a supernatural power source, and then if so, attempt to stem it, basically removing the supernatural element of its power so that Louisa can then destroy it. Or if there's not, then basically trying to figure out what. First of all, figure out what it's doing specifically with those sigils, and also I would like to look for some kind of magical supernatural signature
Okay.
to see if I can figure out anything about who made it.
Okay. We can fill in a little backstory after we take
Sure.
care of this. Okay. So what this is sounding like is this is a devil's bargain. I'll give you 2 dice
Okay.
on this because it's fucking cool.
Thanks.
However, the devil's bargain is one of the options is you betray a friend. So literally, without their consent, you are sucking some of their life energy out. And they're going to take level 1 harm drained, both of them. You are basically fucking them over to do this.
Is this something that I could try normally without the devil's bargain and then
Yep.
kind of
You can
try it again afterwards if needed?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically, if you fail, not a partial success, if you fail, it'll drop it down to desperate, and you can try it again, but the stakes are much, much higher.
Okay.
That I hadn't mentioned that because you guys were at desperate for most of the beginning of this,
Sure.
but you're always welcome to downgrade your position, basically. You can't do it past desperate because there's nothing past desperate. So,
Right.
with that being said, go for it.
So I am throwing stress at this. Is anyone else going to take advantage of the thingamabobber?
Yeah, I'll give you one. I'll give you one.
Okay.
No,
No?
that's not part of the deal.
Because that was the entire thing that the Okay.
Right, you're trying this
So
on your
that's the
own
device that will
first.
steal our life later if necessary.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was thinking I was thinking basically turning it up from stun to kill. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this
Got it,
this
got it.
is that's the devil's bargain.
Got it. Okay.
You're gonna literally, and I'm amplifying the effect of devil's bargain because it's generally 2 dice, 1 die, not 2.
Yeah.
But this is the give and take of the
Sure.
fiction. But the price of that is you're literally sucking some of the life force out of your your underlings. So if you want to try it on your own, go for it. And while you're doing that, Louisa, if you want to. Okay.
Boom!
Boom, baby. What do you want the extra effect to be?
I would like to gain some information about who made this.
Okay. We'll stick a pin in that.
Yep.
And Louisa, what are you doing?
Can I assume from the way we were raised and everything that while I am not a true believer, I recognize the sigils and stuff to know what it was that this was trying to do at least.
Um,
And if so, here I'll add this, that destroying the sigils will continue to break the connection.
essentially, it's a warding circle, keeping something bound inside of it.
Okay, yeah.
It is a early arcanic electroplasmatic device. And
Still listening.
um,
Yeah.
so by some arcane means, the machine, which is old but looks newer than the actual circle, is literally funneling arcane energy to keep the circle going.
Right.
The warding sigils are old. The machine is like 100 or 2 years older than you guys are, but it's not as old as the circle. And it also, oddly enough, doesn't seem to be drawing its power from Leviathan blood, but drawing it from the earth itself somehow. And again, there's a bunch of waste heat radiating off this thing as it's like you're hearing this pumping noise and it's powering this circle.
I am going to
Hmm.
so I'm looking at possible things I might have had in my bandolier. One of which is an oil called alkahest,
Okay.
a fluid that stops the effects of any other alchemical. So that doesn't really sound like what's happening there.
No, I mean, you can
Right.
certainly blow this up or hit it with a sledgehammer or
Yeah.
use another alchemical to.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. So
I
what
mean,
I'd like to do
do you
is
do you
taking
have?
it, using
Sorry.
my saboteur skill that when I wreck, it's
Mhm.
quieter. I mean, I
Right.
know they're coming anyway, but we don't want to also let them know, go, hey, we're here, we're here.
Right.
Um, through the use of my fine wrecking tools and my saboteur skills, create um a hole basically to put basically hydrochloric acid
Okay. Yeah.
to destroy
Yeah,
any
you've got
connection.
basically like a hand cranked boring drill, like
Yeah,
you know,
it's the
like
fine wrecking tools that's quieter, but
yeah. This is the moment in a heist where you're cracking the safe and you've got the
right,
drill out,
right.
and you're
And I'm
you
trying
know
to disrupt the physical
right. You're trying to
connection.
drill into the case of this thing and
Right.
dump acid into the side into
Yes.
it. All right, brilliant. So roll your wreck and do you want to push yourself or
Yeah,
Take a devil's bargain.
I I think I'm gonna add a stress because
Two
she's
stress.
stressed.
Two stress, dear.
So added dice.
Yep. Nice. Okay. It takes you a little bit longer to bore into this thing.
Mhm.
It's not quite as fast as your brother's side of the stuff.
Right.
And the acid takes a little while to get in there. And the machine starts, there's like a big, as like something arcs inside of the machine, and you've let out the magic smoke. But then you hear, as the circle collapses, you hear coming from the tunnels this deathly howl.
Brother. The
Yes.
howl.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. The second part of what you said.
The howls.
Yeah, like you can all hear this echoing, almost mechanical howl coming from the catacombs behind you.
So I detach myself from the device that Narcaden brought along to free up my other hand.
Okay.
Pull up missiles, aim them down the hallway from which we heard the sound.
Okay. So all this happens simultaneously. There's this loud bang, magic smoke goes out, the circle is unpowered and then breaks. You see coming up from the roots at the base of this statue that's literally grown itself there, that little tendrils, green buds start, bits of mushroom and other glowing fungus sprout up as it goes up the body. And the hands open. In the left hand, there are four large gold coins that are ancient, like pre-cataclysm. In the other hand, there are a bunch of seeds. You have done well, my children. One lock is broken. Take my gifts and run!
I grab the coins.
I need, so I grab the seeds and I stay just long enough to, just like alchemy did to me at the very beginning, put my hand just a hair's breadth away from caressing her cheek.
Mm-hmm.
We will keep fighting. We will free you.
Go.
And
Yeah.
Okay. Since it's late, unless you guys want to have a part 2, we're going to call the heist part here.
Yep.
That, cut to a montage again, unless you want to play this out at some other time.
We do grab some bacon and any other, like
Well,
stuff.
yeah,
Specifically-
you
Easily
did that on your way down.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing the box of bacon that the guy I shot had dropped because
well,
I damn well earned that.
Yeah. that all happened before this. Okay, so cut to, like, yes, Guy Ritchie style, you guys, stuffing bacon in your coat and stuff like that.
Ooh,
You know,
sausage! Running
cut
through the streets.
cut. What you don't see is, these brasswork claws stamping down and this clockwork hound, huge, like, like the lions in the Manhattan Library sized clockwork hound with somewhere in its heart this glowing vessel,
Clockwork
electro
Hellhound.
plasmic blue, and its eyes are glowing blue. All you guys see is you're just hearing this roaring growl. We do a bunch of jump cuts of you guys booking it through the sewers, you know, into, you find one of the where it links up to one of the canals. Um, Woodhouse is there on a gondola waiting for you because it's more cinematic than that. And we cut to you guys back at Sandgrave Manor, and we'll wrap up now. Normally we do some after game stuff like um, roll on the effects of heat and things like that. We can do that, but it is 11:15,
Yep.
so we don't have to do that tonight. We can do this in chat through the week.
Yep.
Okay.
You have literally 4 coin. You have some magic seeds, and arcane. You have the knowledge of 2 things.
Okay.
One, those coins are Old Kingdom, pre-Cataclysm. There's the image of a spire on the stamp side of these coins,
Okay.
with a city under the spire. It's sort of stylized, but it's still legible. And these are large gold coins.
Okay.
The other bit that you learned is there's in amongst the runes, there's the Imperial Sigil, the personal seal of the Undying Emperor himself.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just formed the Meepleverse. Love it, love it, love it.
Okay, so again, we can do some of the after game stuff later.
Yep.
And so, do we want to cut to the after show or take a break first?
Yep. So I'm gonna so just in case we actually do decide to publish this, this was Blades in the Dark. Thank you, Matt, for running. I think this was a lot of fun. If you'd like to see us maybe come back to this world, let us know. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, tell your enemies, all the standard stuff. But in the meantime, for Matt, ECAT, Patrick, and Julie, and Ray and Absentia, I am Trevor, the Vitruvian Meeple. Good night, everyone.